Greetings, sunshines and sunnies. It is I, Queen J Lotus, King Sun Kiss, coming at y'all right quick, right fast, maybe for part 2 of Wendy's reality read, honey. And what a reality we are reading, child. So we are picking up where we left off. I left off on the first part with covering some messages and such that it came through about the Osu rumors and sayings. And if you haven't seen that video, be sure to tune in. I got the link to the playlist in the comments and the link to that video specifically in the comments and in the description box. And child, if you've already tuned into it, you already know what it is. So we starting straight out the gate in this part with getting straight into the nitty gritty of, is she guilty of what she is currently being accused of, okay? Allegedly, all the while based on what is coming out in these cards and my competency of my spiritual education, tarot education, and my competency of my spiritual gifts. All right. So I ain't gonna waste no time. Gonna go ahead and get right into the specificity of these cards. So like I said, I asked, is Wendy mindfully guilty of insurance fraud, the insurance fraud that she is currently being accused of? Is she mindfully guilty? Meaning, did she mindfully make the decision to fraud these insurance companies, which she is being accused of frauding, being fraudulent too, or defrauding, as I've heard some people use the terminology of all that. So yeah, she's scamming. Is she? Is she not? Who's to say? Well, the cards that came out, drum roll, please. Boom, TikTok. And we have a yes with a reoccurring card here, this time right side up. It is the King of Wands. BDE, Big Dick Energy. Tisk, which indicates to me that when she is doing things of this nature, it boosts her ego. It makes her feel confident. It makes her feel powerful. It makes her feel big dick energy. And when she was doing this, she felt like she was doing her big one. She was confident in this. She was confident in this. She knew exactly what she was doing. And I just heard, and she'll do it again. And it's crazy because I think it was Erica De Niro's commentary I was listening to on it, and she was like, in Wendy's mugshot, she looked like, and now do it again, damn it. And that's crazy because that's what I just heard channel through, and she'll do it again because she feels an adrenaline rush. She feels a boost. She feels high. She feels powerful when she is stealing. It doesn't matter who she's stealing from. And that's something that Spirit is emphasizing here too. Understanding, don't take shit lightly just because you perceive that they are stealing from a corporation. If they'll do it big like that, they'll do it small. What they'll do at the bottom, they'll do to the top. You feel me? What they'll do to the top, they'll do to the bottom. What they'll do to them, they'll do to you. If that's a part of their character trait, that's what it is. And oftentimes when people do things of this level, that's usually rooted in their core values somewhere. And the way that that card flipped straight out, and it's the same card just in a different position, but it's the same card as the card that came out as for the best of her. That is crazy as fuck. I cannot make this shit up. And I had to take a pause because I was picking up on something as I was reading and channeling, which is Wendy's birth date is noted that I can't remember the exact date, but I know it equates to, if that's her real birthday, she would be a Gemini Taurus. But what I was picking up on in this reading is that, especially the way these cards keep coming out and the way they keep channeling, I'm not getting any of that energy. I'm not getting Gemini Taurus at all. And I felt like that when she first said that she was a Gemini, but I didn't put too much thought into it. And yeah, it channeled through to me that she's lying about her age, she's lying about her birthday, she's lying about her zodiac sign. So I took a pause to ask for confirmation on that. And drum roll, please. The answer is yes. So when I asked, is Wendy lying about her birth date and age, we got the Ace of Swords that came out. And let me tell you this thing about a part of my spiritual gifts, right? I can predict things through Freudian slips. If that's, what you want to call it. So, for instance, I have predicted several pregnancies and childbirths through, for instance, one of my friends at the time, she only had 2 kids. But anytime I was talking about her, like at a certain point, I kept talking about her and saying she got 3 kids, her and her 3 kids. Her 3 kids. I just kept saying that she had 3 kids. Even when I was talking to her, I was like, yeah, because you got 3 kids, or whatever. Just referencing, anytime we reference the kids, I would always, in quantity, I would be saying she had 3 kids. And lo and behold, she was pregnant. Uh-huh. And that's happened several times with several different people, to the point where I know at this point where if I start saying someone has kids and they don't, it's very likely that they're about to have a kid. Or if I start saying they have more kids than they currently have, just mindlessly, it's likely that they're about to have another kid or kids. And the same thing happens in different ways. So I often mindlessly refer to Wendy as an Aquarius. And then I'd be like, Sean, what's wrong with you? Why you keep saying that? She is a Gemini, on the cusp of Gemini and Taurus. But as I'm sitting here channeling this, like I said, that shit just wasn't making no sense. And it became very blatant in this particular layout. So like I said, I had to go ahead and act. So with that said, and being the fact that it's the Ace of Swords that came out to answer, yes, that she lies about her age and her birth date and her zodiac sign, therefore, as well. I was like, oh, so that must be an indicator that she is an air sign, just not a Gemini like she portrays. So that made me ask, is she an Aquarius? Even more so, what made me ask, is she an Aquarius, is the fact that this King of Wands and Queen of Wands also came out, in the previous layout. But the fact that this King of Wands keeps coming out stands out to me because Aquarius and Leo are sister signs. And the monks, and we're going to get into that card in just a second, but the Fool is also a Leo card because The dark form of Leo is the Fool. The unevolved form of Leo is the trickster. So you can also think of it as when the Fool is right side up, and I'm not talking about I'm not talking about DC Universe Joker, okay? But when the Fool is right side up, you can think of him as the Joker, okay? A comedian, a fun, humorous life of the party. But when it's in reverse, it is the trickster, more like DC Universe Joker or even Jigsaw from the movie Saw. Okay, so that element was another indicator of like this Leo energy going on, but my clairvoyance lets me know that it's not Leo. She's not a Leo, but she is energy harvesting off someone or some people who are Leos. I am picking up on that as well. I'm also seeing that. But yeah, so in me asking for clarification and validation on is she actually an Aquarius, we have the Hierophant here as yes. So that would mean that her birthday is actually somewhere around February or March. Not fixated on the year too much because the fact still remains that she's a millennial regardless. I also have a feeling that a lot of those details will eventually be revealed one way or another. Ciao. So let's just go ahead and pop back over to this Fool card in reverse, which is a integrator, elaborator, and clarifier, honey. Which is further indication of the hubris that is, child, that is constantly in the room with Wendy. Whereas, like I said, with that big dick energy, that all this thievery and scammery and fraudulently, all of that is is what makes her feel like the big pussy. And that is a large part of what makes her foolish, because she has truly developed a belief system where, if you remember some of the things that were being said from the first part of this reading, she don't believe shit. You can't tell her shit. She don't believe water wet, which essentially means she has not believed that she would truly get caught, and she don't believe, at least not yet, she don't believe that she is going to have to face any accountability for any of this shit for real. She truly believes that she is beating the system and fooling everyone. But here we have the divine realm through these cards straight up calling her foolish. The damned fool. And that being said, as I'm hearing and correlating with that and the messages from the Hierophant card as well, yeah, those mother goddesses of the, that the Osu tribe commit themselves to specifically, they are indeed leading the line on the spiritual justice aspect. And that being said too, remember what was described about those mother goddesses, about them being earth goddesses. One is, a mother earth goddess specifically, and the other is, I still would consider a mother earth goddess, but more so in the form of earth in its most feminine forms, the harvest and all of that. So the mother earth goddess, Allah or Allah, could be seen as the tree in the imagery of this version of the Hierophant card. And the other mother goddess, I don't know how to pronounce it. I don't know how to pronounce her name. But the other mother goddess can be seen as those vines that are hanging from the tree. And amongst that, what I'm hearing about the male individual that is in the imagery of this card is that someone dropped a dime on Wendy. It's given they were already looking at her, but there's a male in particular that opened the floodgates on her. It's given they gave the officials the exact thing that they needed, the cherry on top to go ahead and do that sweep. And with that being said, I think that's perfect timing to go ahead and get into how is this impacting her and Eddie's relationship amongst what is in between them cricks and crannies. All right, so for this layout, I asked how exactly did Wendy and Eddie get caught? All right, so I asked the spirit to show it to me, tell it to me, all of the things. Now, I'm going to kind of popcorn through this quite a bit because more clarification and elaborations will be done as we go through. Again, I haven't pulled any more cards than what you see on this layout and what you have seen, up until this point. Okay? I'm still pulling and recording as I go. So, yeah. All right, so the cards that came out, the first two cards that came out are the Ace of Fields, aka the Ace of Cups, aka Swipe Right. And that's the card to the upper kind of center but left of them. And we have Boozy Brunch, which is the World card. So straight out the gate, I pick up on an energy of extracurricular activity outside of their marriage. And personally, what I'm channeling, I'm picking it up on both sides. Both of them having things going on outside of their marriage with other people, getting some form of emotional and sexual gratification outside of their relationship, outside of their marriage. There is also alcoholism going on. That's not just indicated through the world card with it being labeled as the boozy brunch, but that energy has honestly been here throughout the reading. Specifically, I pick up on it through a couple of cards, but there are certain cards that are a part of the cups suit that have given me that direct indication, and the Ace of Cups is also given that direct indication here as well. And that alcoholism has been inevitably feeding into multiple layers of recklessness and sloppiness. Okay? Now, what does that have to do with how they got caught? Think about what was just said about that Hierophant card in the previous layout. And let's also get into the love and money cards that came out, further indicating what happened. So we have, I'm going from left to right, starting with the second row, which is family ties, rejection, the trap card in reverse, and consumerism in reverse. All right, so I'm not gonna tell no lie to you. Between her and Eddie, what I'm picking up on and channeling is one of them was messing around with the other's family member. I'm not sure which. I don't know if it's a brother, uncle, father, cousin, or what. The mama, I don't know. But one or the other was messing around with the other's family member. Okay? At some point, there is rejection, okay? One or the other experienced. So, I'll tell you what I'm picking up here. I am getting a specific image of Wendy specifically being rejected by whoever it is she's having her extracurricular activity with. Like at some point in their affair, she ends up being rejected and acting out of spite. It's given that and I'm picking this up also with the trap card and the consumerism card, that Wendy may have been acting as like a sugar mama to her side piece. And this is also a part of how and why there have been extra money issues and extra money fraudulence, because it's given that she was doing a lot of extra scamming and fraudulent stuff, trying to get money and materials and whatnot to keep being a sugar mama for her side piece. Honey. The other aspect of that is picking up Eddie at a certain point, rejecting his side piece at a certain point. And in this case, at a certain point means that rejecting certain things with her, having boundaries, such as won't spend money on her, won't take her out, in public, or, send her gifts and stuff like that. Just very like get what he needs from her and keeps it moving, while she wants more and more. And the more that becomes apparent, the more he pulls away. Because I keep hearing that Eddie worships Wendy. Eddie worships Wendy. And so like it's given that whoever his side piece is, what his side piece is, he's very like touch and go, like get what he need and keep it moving. He not doing all that extra caking and this and that. Like they may, because like I'm getting that there is some emotional gratification that he gets from them. Like he probably is able to talk to them on and on and on and vent about whatever to them, but they're not able to do it in return. Like he doesn't reciprocate that for them. He doesn't listen to them vent. He doesn't, like I said, he doesn't spend money on them or take them out, but they may spend money on him. And it's also giving that in the midst, he be finessing. He be finessing bitches, and he be like conning bitches in the midst, and he will con them for money to splurge on Wendy. Ciao. And so there's a lot of spiteful energy going on here with all of these dynamics and power plays in play amongst this inability to handle rejection. It's given like everybody in the equation don't know how to take rejection. Oh, child. So then we get to the bottom row. And again, from left to right. And we have the trump card, distraction, unexpected event, and escape. So this is giving that they started getting paranoid and watching the news and scrolling social media. Is giving one or both of them stays on social media heavy. And I feel like it's Wendy, because that came up for her earlier in the reading. It was in the previous part. She be on social media a lot, micro analyzing every little thing that is conducive to all of these different identities that she strives to conquer. And in the midst of that, and everything that's been going on in the world, amongst like just sensing her shit catching up with her as well, like it getting harder to juggle, it getting harder to cover her own tracks and hide and deal with all of the emotional turmoil and drama that's happening in the midst. She starts to set up a hell of a lot of escape plans. And in the midst of setting up these escape plans, it's a lot of, this goes back to that savings card that was in the first part of this whole reading. So definitely make sure that you caught up on that first part, right? So in the first part, there was a card that came out that was about savings, and it was about her, the influence of hustle culture and such, and her Osu influence and whatnot. Her using it in a way and it working in a way where she got the mindset to set up a hell of a lot of safety nets at once. The issue is you wouldn't need so many safety nets if you weren't doing so much dirt. Thing about that too is, in setting up so many safety nets, that means you have to also talk to a hell of a lot of people in order to establish a lot of allyship. And remember what was said about what they do to the bottom, they'll do to the top. What they do to them, they'll do to you, if that's a part of their core values. Okay? So, steady fucking over people that also will stick around because they reap benefits from you fucking over other people. You're picking up what I'm putting down here? So, it's given, it's quite a few people that she thought that she formed allyship with amongst pillow talking in the midst of alcoholism and things of that nature. And it's quite a few people that turn state's evidence. It's quite a few people that drop dime. It's quite a few people that drop dime, honey. Also, when we tap into this distraction card right here, the distraction card is very layered. And so I am going to read this one off. It reads, subtle cues hint at impending danger. A breath away from potential turmoil. In the closeness of peril lies caution's call. So, one part of that is there seems to be a double Asian afoot. What I'm picking up on is a part of why Wendy has felt so bold is because it seems as though there is someone in the legal system, and I'm not talking about Eddie, I'm not talking about a lawyer, I'm talking about someone who is some sort of officer of some sort, or maybe even like a higher rank type officer or something, maybe even a judge or something of the sort, some type of investigator or something. And they have made her feel bold because this person also put her on game. They've been putting her on game, and they've been kind of blocking her ass on some shit. They've been, facilitating a way to keep her from getting caught. Thing is, this person has also been filling in the law. They've also been doing their job. And I can't tell no lie to you, I am picking up some sort of cross-contamination going on here. Meaning, I don't know which one came first, the chicken or the egg, but it's given that Wendy and this individual may have had some extracurricular activities going on. However, this person was never on her side. This person was always working for the law and just getting what they can get in the midst. And ooh, child. And Spirit is saying the lesson in that is attracting what you are, attracting what you entertain type shit. So it's like they facilitate this parasitic type of energy so heavy that they attract it in every form. Child. Another aspect of this card, the distraction card, is both Wendy and Eddie have already turned against each other. I'm gonna ask. I'm gonna do another layout to confirm that, but that's what's coming out. That's what's channeling in this layout, and specifically through that distraction card, as well as the escape card, and the energy of this whole collective. They have already turned on each other and snitched on each other. They are. It's fucked up because they're partners in crime, and they're both also snitches on each other. And I'm not talking about now that they have both been arrested, they started squealing on each other. No, I'm saying what's channeling through here is that somehow, some way, they both dropped dime on each other. Amongst the other people doing what they do, they also snitched on each other. They both like saw that they were finna get caught the fuck up, and they both started to like throw the other under the bus. And that being said, y'all, we're gonna go ahead to the next layout because I got a question set up for that. Not about them turning on each other, because I really didn't expect that, but I'm gonna ask, how is this gonna impact their marriage? Are they gonna end up divorced? So yeah, that's what I'm finna ask. Y'all, I can't make this shit up. I cannot make this shit up. So, for starters, here, I just asked, how is this case going to impact their marriage? And we have the Sun card, which has come out before. And we have the Hierophant, this time in the Millennial Tarot deck, from the Millennial Tarot deck. But it is the Hierophant again, and in this deck, it is labeled the Instagram Guru. And the Sun card is labeled Insta Famous. So what I'm picking up here is, one, it's about to be so much shit that is exposed and revealed about both Wendy, Eddie, and their marriage. Even stuff that they don't know about each other. Okay? What's very funny and interesting about this is this is also going to make it very apparent to everyone how nutty the two of them are as individuals and as a unit. Because it seems like this is going to make them wet. This is going to make them wet. So let me tap into this Hierophant card real quick. So other aspects of this is there are certain people who are social media famous one way or another. Ooh. Now, child, I don't know who, okay? I don't know who. But it did just channel through that there is someone who does commentary on shows. Their show is included, that Eddie has been messing around with. It's multiple people, but there's one main person who seems to be very well known. And they're gonna start chatting it up, honey. They are going to start running off at the mouth. They gonna start revealing all of the things. And a part of this is also because remember what I said about them facilitating such an energy so heavy that every person they attract is like a bird of a feather. And so this person and these other people, but this main person that's coming up, they're going to be doing it like it's from a place of they just want to put the truth out there and they feel victimized and guilty all at the same time and all of that shit. But they're a clout chaser too. They just want to be even bigger. Because it's giving. They are known, like they're popular, they have a lot of followers and such, but they want to be more universal. Like they want to go big viral. They want to hit Entertainment Tonight, CNN type shit. And it's given that they are envious of Wendy in the way that, like, she's been on Bravo. She's been on, news stations and things of that nature. She's been next to Kamala Harris, Barack Obama, all of those people. Honey, this is crazy. So some indicators on who it could possibly be, even though it says Instagram guru, this person could also be, like, they could be on Instagram, but they could also be a YouTuber. They could also be popular on literally any and all social media platforms. You know, they could have their popularity one way or another, could even be TikTok. Also, you can look at the imagery of the card to put, some indicators about the features together as to who it could potentially be. But some other indicators that you may not be able to see very well on the card is there are crabs. So she's like kind of on the beach, and it's like she's doing a yoga position. And there are crabs on the beach behind her, and there is also a seal. So this person is likely a water sign, but this person could also be a Taurus because in this deck, in the Millennial Tarot deck, this card is labeled Taurus. Okay. But I'm also hearing Capricorn. Okay. So they could also be Capricorn. Or they could give off that type of energy. But I'm getting, if I'm being quite honest, I'm getting Cancer or Capricorn. And that's, interesting too, because Cancer and Capricorn are sister signs. So that's, something to keep in mind as well. There are other people in the background, and what I'm channeling off of that is that this person may talk a lot about relationships on their platform. They may do a lot of talk about relationships. So in the variation of things that they talk about and do their content creating on, they focus predominantly on relationship dynamics and such. So yeah. Very, very, very interesting. This person is also angry. Again, there's a lot of jealousy from a lot of Eddie's side pieces specifically, because they can tell that he worships Wendy and they want to be worshipped in that way, let alone they want to be able to say that they got Wendy man to worship them. And so they have a lot of envy towards Wendy. And they're also saying, and you can look at the imagery of the card to see that as well, like the aesthetic of the girl that's on the card. While Wendy doesn't wear her hair big like that, that phenotype is similar to Wendy, like brown skin, voluptuous, African queen-esque, African princess type look. And so yeah, the spirit is saying Eddie has a type, and that a lot of the girls that he has messed around with look like variations of her, and or come off like variations of Wendy, one way or another. And what they're showing me too is that this is a large part of the reason why she got ugly with the Brooke Ashley the way that she did, because the Brooke Ashley fits the aesthetic that Eddie likes and has been messing around on her with. Now, be clear, I'm not saying that the Brooke Ashley is any of the girls that he's messing around with. I'm just saying it channeled through that that's a part of the reason why Wendy suddenly like switched up on her and got ugly with her, because at this point Wendy knows about the extracurricular activity, and like Brooke fits the aesthetic, so it's just like misdirected anger on some shit. Like, you fit the profile, so you gonna get this energy. So yeah, the thing about this is the energy that I'm getting is that this could possibly bring Eddie and Wendy closer together. And they could end up capitalizing off infamy eventually. But I'm gonna stick a pin in that right there, and we're gonna see about some clarification and confirmation on the specifics of, will this lead to their divorce? Will this bring them closer together? And boom, TikTok, I asked, will all of this fraud case and everything end up leading to them divorcing? And with the Two of Cups here, aka the Two of Feels, aka engagement photos, that is a yes, y'all. So Spirit is saying, the cards are saying that all of this will end up leading to them divorcing. Also, I want to point out that the zodiac energy of this card from this particular Millennial Tarot deck is Cancer. And I'm pointing that out because another part of what I'm channeling from this is that Eddie is going to get re-engaged. And it's very likely he's going to attach himself to someone who is social media famous or very popular, like a socialite one way or another. He's going to end up attaching himself to someone who has very high social currency, whether it's fame or infamy. And to further segue on the other things that I'm channeling on, for the elaboration card that came out, it is the Nine of Coins in reverse, and the label on that card is first time homeowner. And that lets me know just straight up, they're going to lose a lot. And a large part of the straw that breaks the camel's back will likely be loss of homes. I'm picking up several homes, loss of the home that they stay in, but I'm also picking up that there is some sort of generational heirloom, or maybe even multiple different forms of heirlooms that they're going to end up losing. And that's very likely what's going to end up just shattering they shit. Amongst that is, I'm going to ask for the confirmation, but what I'm also channeling and picking up on here is that Wendy may end up going to prison, and Eddie may end up taking like a plea deal and getting either a like way lesser sentence, like only a couple of months type shit. Like he may only serve like a couple of months. He may only be sentenced to a couple of months, maybe even a year. He may not serve any time. He may get house arrest. Like he may just get probation type shit. Like I'm picking up that Eddie is going to get like very, as far as the legal system, Eddie is going to get very minimal punishment type shit. And it's given that he's going to be fully cooperative with the law. He's going to be fully forthcoming with everything that is everything, and he is going to be singing like a canary and doing everything that he can to save his own ass. So yeah. And with that said, the other part of that is going to be him doing the most to reinvent himself afterwards, which is connected to those channelings I was getting concerning him attaching himself to the next best thing, the next, popular socialite. So that said, I want to go ahead and get to, the next moment that we all been waiting for, child. Are they going to prison? Shout out to Voodoo Doll TV. I like the way she say prison. Hi, child. We in there like swimwear. So for the first top 2 cards in this layout, I asked, will Wendy have to serve prison time? And we have the Ace of Swords once again. And the Ace of Swords in the Millennial Tarot deck is labeled Vision Board. So these are yeses. These are yeses that Wendy will 9 times out of 10 have to serve prison time. She will end up serving prison time. Allegedly, according to how the cards came out and my competency of spirituality in these cards and my spiritual gifts. But yes, honey, that's what done came out. They said, yes, Wendy will have to serve prison time. So on the bottom row is where I asked for some estimations of how much time she may have to serve. So for the first card over to the left of them, represented by the third party situation card, that is indicating about 5 months, okay? The number on that card is 14, and they indicated and clarified and confirmed to me that they want me to interpret that as the 1 and the 4 coming together to make 5 months, okay? So at minimum, she may end up serving 5 months in prison. And based on the card that came out for this, is giving that it's a possibility that it could be the double agent individual that she was already fooling around with, allegedly. And or she could end up finding some other candidates of the sort to put that pussy on them, pussy on them, pussy on them. She might put that pussy on them, pussy on them, pussy on them. And they might help her out. The thing about this that I am channeling as I speak is, and this is about to segue us to the next card, is that in the midst of all of this, she might get caught doing that shit or trying to do that shit, like trying to bribe with her pussy and end up getting extra charges put on her, and or if not extra charges, extra time put on. That being said, getting to the next card, which Spirit indicated that they wanted me to interpret this as 9 years. So at a median, at a middleman estimation of how much time she may serve could be 9 years. Okay. They indicated to me they wanted me to perceive this as 9 years. So at a middleman estimate time of prison time that she may serve, it could be 9 years. You may notice that this card is also represented by the Strider card, which has the number 63 on it. You put 6 and 3 together, you get the number 9. I'm going to read off what this is on this one. It says, notice patterns that suggest it's time to delete unwanted memories. Random thoughts and intense feelings urge you to shred the remnants of the past. And what I'm channeling off of that is, again, it's very likely she may try to bribe some legal officials with her vagina. And in the midst, they gonna be chatting and talking, and people may find out, and she may get extra consequences for it. Amongst Eddie, of course, may find out and use that to his advantage. Now, getting into the final card in this layout, which is bad news in reverse. The thing about this card is it was an interesting channeling on this one, but they made it clear that this card is to be perceived as 10 to 46 years. So at maximum, Wendy could serve 10 to 46 years in prison. And I ain't gonna lie, I clutched the shiggity out of my pearls when that channeled through as well, as I was getting the clarity and confirmation on, the time span they wanted me to perceive on that. But what they explain is the spiritual injustice of the adultery that's going on is also playing a part in it. Not necessarily as the earthly court system is at play, but as the divine realm is also at play. So the divine realm is also observing her and how she is navigating this case and handling herself throughout this case, and if she is going to take any accountability. And to be honest, it seems as though the divine realm already pretty much knows that she's not going to take any accountability for real. Probably be at very minimum, like there may be certain things that force her to rectify certain things and do right in certain ways, but for the most part, at the core, they pretty much know that she not gonna change for real for the better. But I am hearing, like, for the sake of her kids, they're giving her opportunities to clear up karma, to spare her kids as much as possible, at least. And so that's why with this card in particular, especially, it's giving 10 to 46 years, because I'm gonna give y'all just straight up in a nutshell what's being communicated about this whole bottom layout here. So what they're saying is that 5 months shit is best case scenario. But with that card being the representative amongst the energy channeling off of it, and what my clairaudience keeps saying, is that Wendy can't help herself. She literally cannot help herself. The divine realm is steadily saying that as well. She can't help herself. She don't know what to do with herself. She literally is her own worst enemy and everybody else's. And she can't help herself. So it's like, yeah, that best case scenario being there is God's grace just It's just God's grace. That's just God being God and, putting that on the table because that's just what God would do. you know, the option is there. And that's even like, if they're saying it's like, further proving the point of how certain people will always do what is true to them, no matter how many options they have, no matter how many degrees they have. There are certain people that will always do what is true to them. And that's also a part of why, God's grace is unconditional in that way, where there will always be a best case scenario minimal option type shit. However, it's to be understood as well that just because the divine realm may allow you to get a minimal legal prison sentence doesn't mean that you're going to ride off into the sunset and live happily ever after. So that's something that they're emphasizing and indicating with that as well, which is basically, ooh, yeah, and it just channeled through. This is a lose-lose situation for her. And 9 times out of 10, the way Spirit is speaking, she'll likely be sentenced to 10 years. And at real minimum, she may serve 9, but she'll likely be sentenced to 10. And she'll have several crossroads in the meantime between all of that time. And that's why the Ace of Swords is there also in that form with the Millennial Tarot card, from the Millennial Tarot deck. Because, again, it's labeled vision board, right? So that's also further indication that in the meantime, between all that time, she'll have, different crossroads to give her different opportunities to embrace God's grace by way of taking accountability for all of her shit. Now, again, the thing is, and I'm going to read off this bad news card in reverse. I feel you through everything, the news we heard, the pain we share, and the hope we hold on to. We are connected even in this dark time. That is Wendy sitting up worried about the wrong thing. Sitting up whereas she could and should be vision boarding on how she can rectify and redeem her life and her spirit and her kids and all of that good shit. But is more than likely she will be in there coming up with ways to try to do the whole thing back over again, but better. How to quote unquote do it right this time type shit. It's also given that that'll be something that she's thinking about Eddie amongst multiple other different men. I'm saying men, I'm picking it up that it might be some extra, might be some women in there as well. Because this energy of Delilah, Jezebel type spirit, it keeps coming up. And it's like she gonna be vision boarding about new victims, to be honest. Similar to what I was channeling about Eddie being on the outside and looking for the next best socialite meal ticket. She'll be looking for the next best victim's host to suck off of as well, and new identities to take on, to reinvent herself, but not reinvent herself for the better, but reinvent herself to continue the fraudulence. And what's also being communicated here with the energy of the number 5, the number 9, and the number 10, Spirit is saying the Wendy that we have known is not who she is or who she's ever been. And all at the same time, we won't ever see that version of Wendy again. Like from this point forward, we not gonna know who the fuck we looking at for real. And child, I'm gonna leave that at that, and we will move on to the next layout. All right, y'all, so we done got like a lot of the big stuff out the way. So now I just want to ask, will she end up getting fired from Bravo? And will she be in the flesh present at the season 10 reunion? So I asked first, will she end up being fired from Real Housewives and the Bravo network as a result of this legal battle? And we have the Knight of Swag, aka the Knight of Coins, aka Celebrity Stylist, and that is a yes card. I also want to point out that in most tarot decks, the Knight of Coins is also a card that is yes either way. Like whether it's right side up or in reverse or sideways or tilted, honey. It is always yes. Which goes back to another message that had come out before, which indicated that this is a lose-lose situation for Wendy. Like, she is not coming out clean from this situation. She's a goner, one way or another. And that is really unfortunate. And for the card over to the right of them, you may see that card has been showing up quite a bit. It's even been showing up in cases where I didn't show y'all. The 9 of Cups came out to confirm the prison time cards that I was pulling on. Like I said, I didn't show them in the picture, but when I was asking for confirmation and clarification, the 9 of Cups came out as a clarifier and confirmer multiple times. So yeah. But this card in this layout, it is indicating the answer to me asking, will she be in the flesh present at the season 10 Real Housewives of Potomac reunion? And this is a yes card, okay? It's given that she will be in the flesh present at the reunion. It's also what's channeling along with that is we may notice her really capitalizing, and that word been coming up quite a bit in this reading too, huh? But yes, we may notice her doing a lot of capitalizing off of any moment she can to push the narrative that she and Eddie are in such a great place, that they're more in love than ever, that their sex life is booming, that they are just in bliss, honey. Like, there may be a whole lot of pomp and circumstance to campaign that they are fucking Idris Elba and Michelle Obama. Child, Jonathan Majors and Coretta Scott King. The gag is, she's Jonathan Majors. Child, I'm screaming. But that ought to be very interesting to see. It's also given that they may be dressed to the nines, honey. It's given that they may very well be dressed to the nines. Okay? Thing is, what I'm also getting from this, and that celebrity stylist card has flashed out quite a bit as well. That's not a coincidence, because Wendy's actual stylist or their stylists or type people on their team may end up singing like canaries as well, one way or another, and playing major roles in their exposure and downfall also. Tisk. Now, that's all I have thus far as it concerns like the specificities of, all the conducive parts to the current case that's going on, that wanted to tap into, deep dive into questions that I heard, asked and whatnot throughout the social medias and whatnot, that I also included, like, about the reunion and such. I heard a lot of people asking, about the possibilities of issues gonna show or not, all that good shit. But I do have a bonus question and or questions that I wanted to ask based on how much fraudulent shit came out in this reading. Like, I am really shocked that a nigga named Paul, and I'm very disappointed, to be honest. And so that being said, it's like, is this your real name? Is this even your real phone number? And so I'm gonna ask, one, is Wendy her real name? I am gonna ask that. And I'm going to ask, are her degrees real? So those would be the two bonus questions that I ask. But you're going to have to come on back to these clinic quotas for the next time. I will include those in the next part of the video. I'll do like a bonus third part type shit to cover that aspect, okay? And I will very likely, pop in if and when necessary as, things about the case and everything progress. So yeah. With all that being said, child, if I do say so myself, honey, I have milked this cow dry. And I am thoroughly appreciative for the exchange of vibes. And if you're feeling synchronized, please do me a divine design and like, share, and subscribe so that you can be one of the first to be back through these queenlet quarters for the next time. And be sure to bless that comment section with your questions and conversations. And as always, I bid you in all ways light, love, healing, and liberation. Emphasis on liberation. Mwah.